and the scores are level, I'm sure that the batsmen and the umpires will know what's going on. But certainly we made inquiries of the South African manager, Alan Jordan, during play, and it does seem that their efforts to get a firm ruling had not met with any success from the Rules Committee. What a shambles that would be if the scores were level and nobody was sure what would happen. I remember a case, you see, where wickets lost, pure wickets lost counted, where Ian Botham on 97 played a maiden out in a Lord's semi-final in order to ensure his side got through, and they were on level, couldn't afford another wicket, and so he played a maiden. But here it appears that wickets will not be taken into account.
Let's just hope we don't get to that, Jack.
Lewis. Only be the one. 31 off 17 balls. Nearly 2 runs and over. 2 runs a ball. Boundaries an absolute must. I don't think this pair have succeeded in hitting one yet.
No.
What a magnificent effort by South Africa to get so close, if indeed that's all it's going to be. Well, that might be caught. Well, that's one of them. .27 now needed off 16. Richardson saw him coming and positioned himself accordingly. It's a bad ball, one of the few short deliveries that England have bowled. Slower ball, gone for the big one, might be 4 more. Richard Illingworth, the man coming across, kept it to 2, super bit of fielding, kept his nerve, kept the vessels. Oh dear. In fact, he was Neil Fairbrother. Just a little bit straighter. And now Fairbrother's appeared out there when he's been at the other end of this ground for most of the game, and it just shows you that where Gooch wants his key men.
Every single Australian in this ground now shouting for South Africa. Richardson 13, Macmillan 18, 229 for 6, and here comes the rain. What more can you ask at a time like this? Here comes the rain. Goodness me, and it's coming down.
14 balls to go, and it is raining.
Oh dear. Two more, trying to look out.
Across, which means 22 off 13 balls. Well, this has been a good over. 9 from it so far. England plagued with a wet ball. Who would be an umpire at a time like this?
Well, Jack, here's an interesting situation. South Africa could win this game because a lot of runs were scored off the last over by England, and the 44 best overs.
But therefore they would take out a couple of maidens, and therefore I would guess that South Africa would be on the wrong end of it. What do the umpires do now? It's barely fit to continue. We're within 13 balls of the completion of this semi-final. They've got to be fair to both sides.
They're going to go off. They're calling Graham Gooch over. What a tragedy if this is the way it's going to end. They're chatting to Gooch.
Alan Lamb's in there. Crowd can hardly bear watch. The England supporters. England have until 10 minutes past 10 local time to complete their overs, so they could go off for 7 or 8 minutes and still come back and complete them. But what is the conversation between Gooch and the two umpires? It's obviously concerning the wet ball.
And all they're doing is delaying it, and the rain keeps coming down and makes things even wetter.
Well, they're going off. No, they're coming off. They're coming off. And if they don't go back, according to our calculations, England win. They're going off with 22 runs needed off 13 balls and 21 to square the whole game up. Brian McMillan is asking the two umpires what the position is. But how sad for the game of cricket, never mind the supporters of either side or the players of either side, if a great showpiece match like this, what a spectacle it's been, should be tainted by a rain-reduced result. It's been such a great game of cricket. Oh my word, South Africa deserve every bit of credit for having got their side to within a touch of victory. The game is tilted England's way, one can't deny that. But nevertheless, the umpires, I'm sure, have had one of the most difficult decisions to make in any one-day international match. Just imagine the semi-final of a World Cup. 13 balls to go, and everybody, including the players of both sides, want it settled by a cricketing format. And this perverse Sydney rain, which the Sydney curator promised Kepler Wessels would not be enough to take the players off, has done just that. There is the scorecard with every single player into double figures, and that, I think, illustrates what a terrific team effort it's been. Kepler Wessels getting his side off to a terrific start. Hudson playing particularly well. The drama of Kirsten batting with a runner. Adrian Caper playing by far his best innings of the whole tournament, and then getting out to a rash-looking shot against Illingworth. They're easy to criticise when they misfire, and everybody eager to praise when they don't. Anxious manager there. Alan Jordan, Alan Donald, pads on probably, if we could see. And what's he looking for? Prayers are being offered there, and who knows what the results will be. But what a tragedy for the game of cricket that a World Cup semi-final is marred in this way. South Africa, whatever happens, whether they lose, whether they come back and win, it has been a terrific effort on their part. And of all the games they've played in this competition, they ran England so close in the game at Melbourne, and they threatened to run them just as close here. 22 off 2 overs and 1 ball, with David Richardson starting to break loose. The partnership that really kept South Africa in the match was the 5th wicket one between Hansie Cronje and young Jonty Rhodes. They put on 45 in 53 balls, and the performance of Rhodes, who was eventually caught by Chris Lewis off the bowling of Gladstone Small, was brilliant. 43 of just 38 deliveries. But we have a bit of time on our hands. Time in which we hope it will be possible to come back. Remember, the 50th or the 45th over, the final over, needs to be started as we make it before 10 minutes past 10 local time. It's now 5 minutes to 10. So if the players can get back on the field in the next 7 or 8 minutes, and the umpires will be keen for that, the administrators, what must they be thinking? A crowd here of 40,000 with receipts of upwards of $500,000 Australian dollars, and their finish of a match, their opportunity to watch it, may well be thwarted by the weather. Louis, an absolute a situation which I don't think any fiction writer dared put pen to paper with.
Absolutely not. 15 minutes, you can see there, 14 minutes and counting now, the fate of South Africa in the Benson and Hedges World Cup. Let alone whether they come out and still bowl the remaining 13 balls and South Africa lose. That's one way of losing it. But to lose it this way, that would be great disappointment to the side.
I think, to simplify that, they need to bowl 7 more balls by 10:09, and providing they can start that final over before 10 past 10, that, in our opinion, and we stress it is only an opinion, would be sufficient. So if the side are back on the field in time to bowl 7 more deliveries by 9 minutes past 10, 13 minutes away. The ticking clock holds the fate of this match.
Well, 40,000 people are baying for the umpires to remove the covers. They won't until the rain stops. The rain is coming down. It's just a very light drizzle at the moment. It's nothing like it was about 5 minutes ago. Just the main cover is on. No others have been put on. It'll take them just 2 or 3 minutes to get the covers off if they are instructed to by the umpire. They are standing out there with the groundsman who has got a little office behind the Bradman stand that has the weather pattern up to 500 miles out to sea. He can tell you within a minute or two of whether it's going to rain and for how long it's going to rain. And that might just be a reason why he is standing out there and he has not put the complete set of covers on. A couple of the ground staff want to take the covers off. Mike Proctor and Alan Jordan making their way out to have a chat to the umpire. And if you wanted high drama in the middle of the day in South Africa and at 10 o'clock at night in Australia, Mnet Supersport is certainly giving it to you.
9:57, 1 more minute has ticked on. Alan Jordan and Mike Proctor simply want to clarify the position. How sad if South Africa were denied the final chance of glory in this way. It's a risk that Kepler Wessels took. We had to stress that at the start when he won the toss and decided to bat second. It was always on the cards that he might suffer. Now, he might well get away with it if, in fact, the umpires can fetch the players back on the field. But one of the problems in cricket, you can stay on in light drizzle. I don't think I've ever seen umpires fetch a team back on under those conditions until it stopped raining, as Louis Carper said 2 or 3 minutes ago.
The booze for Mickey Stewart. He's making his way on. Mickey Stewart being booed. I don't know why.
No, I think it's perfectly reasonable for the managers of both sides to be in conversation with the umpires so that everybody knows exactly what's going to happen. Jordan and Proctor retreat. Mickey Stewart walks up to them. Smile on Mickey's face and on Alan Jordan's face, but how sad, and nothing really that anybody down there can do except wait and hope.
Well, the rain certainly has eased considerably, but there is still a very light drizzle. And if you thought you heard a few roars earlier on, if these covers do come off, the sound will be absolutely deafening.
9:59 has ticked up. Remember, 7 more balls.
Here they come off.
Are going off. Bob Bennett, the England manager, is walking out to join Mickey Stewart. If the covers are going off, there'll be no further room for discussion. Managers can remove themselves, the players get back on the field. 10 o'clock is on the board. I can say that Mike Proctor and Alan Jordan look all that pleased.
Now, when do they stop the clock from ticking? Now that they've taken the covers off, or once the first ball is bowled? It's not in the rules either.
Well, there's Bob Bennett, the England manager. And grim-faced quartet there, and it could be, of course, that we're surmising that 7 balls to be bowled before you complete. We'll start the last over before 10:10. It could be that the umpires have decided they're leaving the field also, so there may be a conference with the match adjudicator. It could well be that some deduction has been made, in which case that could only count one way, and that would be in England's favour.
Well, Mike Proctor and Alan Jordan don't look too happy with the situation, whatever it might be.
See, if they've been off for 6 or 7 minutes, as they have at least, that is the equivalent of 2 overs. And if you take 2 overs out and it's a 43-over game, then effectively it's almost game, set, match. Now there's the England scorecard, which led to this total of 252 for 6, and how vital that last over of Alan Donald is now proving with what Dermot Reeve did to him. There's a South African reply, and a magnificent team effort it's been. We all thought that to pull a victory off like this, you needed one man to play a major innings. In fact, nobody has, but they've all chipped in their own different ways. And I think the significant thing here, Louis, is that Ian Chappell talking there to Alan Jordan.
Here's another calculation for you.
The basis is that there's 1 over and 1 ball left, so 7 balls left, and you've got to divide, or what's that, about 23 and 7.
Right, so it's around about 250 is the target,
Yeah,
or have they given you the...
We were 250 and 6, weren't they?
Yeah.
And there's 7 balls left in any event, that's what they said. 1 ball, 1 over and 1 ball left.
Right, and that's because of time lost.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess it's up to the batsman now to do a bit of swing. Well, there we are, Richie.
So there you are, that's the story. We've heard it from Alan Jordan, who's heard it from the umpires. But what I'd like to know is, if this game was scheduled over 50 overs for both sides, the England innings, if they lose, if the rain comes down, do they subtract the time from the 45 overs or from the 50 overs?
Well, I don't know, but they've subtracted it clearly, because instead of as we thought, 22 runs needed of 13 balls, it now turns out that only 7 balls remain, and if therefore overs have been taken
there'll be 7 balls remaining in this game, and the target is unchanged.
The target is unchanged, exactly as I thought. The full fatuity of this rule has been shown up with Merrick Pringle's 2 maiden overs being deducted from the England score. The target is the same, and the game therefore has effectively been handed to South Africa by a rule which has now shown to be utterly farcical. Merrick Pringle and South Africa have been penalised for his 2 maiden overs, and as a result, 7 balls remain, the target remains the same, and suddenly South Africa, with more than a squeak of a chance, instead of wanting 22 off 13 balls, now only need those same 22, but only off 7 deliveries. The crowd hate it. They can't understand, and I suppose if ever a rule was going to be killed stone dead, it would be this match which would do it. But what a great shame that it is a showpiece game, a semi-final, in which suddenly the rule book comes out triumphant. England have every prospect now of winning the match. Surely they can concede not as many as 22 runs off 7 balls. They'll be happy to go back on. And the irony is that the clock shows 10:04, and therefore with a prompter start, in our opinion, it would have been possible to have got the 13 balls in, but the umpires can only apply the rules, they don't make them. And who would be an umpire again, we say? A great shame, Louis, not only for South Africa or for the 40,000 crowd here, but for the game of cricket, that a World Cup semi-final should be more or less decided in that way.
There come the 2 batsmen, Brian McMillan and Dave Richardson. The umpires again conferring. What about this time, I don't know. Alex Stewart involved in that discussion as well. 1 over and 1 ball, 22 runs wanted. So now Graham Gooch goes to have a chat to the batsman as well. Now the umpires are going off again. Well, they certainly are wasting enough time, the umpires.
Well, I'm not sure whether they're over happy with the cards that have been dealt them. Presumably they've had one conference already because they went to the edge of the field. Brian McMillan's unhappy. And play certainly won't start yet. 10:05 is on the clock. The official announcement has been made. Instead of 13 balls left, South Africa now only have 7. And I'm not sure why only 1 over has been taken out. Of course, they've now been off the field for close on 15 minutes, which is their deducting time, and overs should in fact have already given the match to England. But It is a rule which you'll read about in your newspapers tomorrow morning. It will be pulled apart for years to come, and it has no chance of staying in World Cup competitions in the future.
Well, we'll find out now what's going on, but there is total confusion out there. Brian McMillan's not sure what's happening. Chris Lewis is chatting to the umpire. He doesn't know what's going on. Bails are being put back on. That means we're about to start play. There's Dave Richardson asking the umpire what the story is.
Brian McMillan at the other end is talking to Alex Stewart. The umpire's coming down to talk to both Stewart and McMillan.
Peter Kirsten just laughs. Alan Donald's got no smile on his face.
John and Patricia Delamere from Denali go to
and the public address decide to ask the two people to go and meet somebody somewhere, just to add to this high drama.
I think they could ask for two High Court judges to sort this lot out.
Somehow I doubt whether those two people are going to leave the ground and go and meet whoever it is they have to meet right now.
Well, the anticlimax of all to a game that promised the greatest climax of this competition.
It's not impossible. But that man, Graham Gooch, must know now that two teams will remain, and the chances are it's going to be his side and Pakistan. My question now is, are they going to fine England for not bowling the number of overs, because it's nearly 10 past as well. They'll really throw the cat amongst the pigeons.
Umpire Aldridge is not happy about something. Quite what it is, we're not sure.
Face of Alan Donald. Responded as best they could, but at the end the rules and the rain have taken away the chance of this game being an absolute climax as opposed to ending up being an anti-climax. Kepler Wessels shakes the hand of Ian Botham, Merrick Pringle, Alan Donald. All the South African players have come out in the true spirit of the game to shake the hands of the England side, who will now contest the final of the World Cup at the MCG on Wednesday, and they will play against Pakistan. The rules might be wrong, but the sportsmanship of the game is being shown right there between 22 class players, two countries that will meet many times in the future, and the game will be resolved at another stage. Dejected Kepler Wessels, Craig Smith, the physiotherapist, Faik Davids, one of the players who's come along with Yasim Beg, and the South African players out there to say goodbye.